because it's really what I need. I wrote this song earlier this year, and I love some of the songs we've been singing and hearing about presence and beauty, and that's what this song is about. The lyrics say, I want to write a poem about nothing. In a world that demands I always write about something. I want to lie down in a field of green just because it's really what I need. And I want to take you along with me just because we belong in the country. See the apple I'm holding in my hand. See the tears that are streaming down my cheek. Don't you wonder what it'll be like in the end? Or is this moment really all we'll ever need? Bonjour. Bonjour. Kaitlin, Curtice, and Dejnikas, Bodawad, Miandao. I am Kaitlin Curtice. I am a citizen of the Potawatomi Nation. So grateful to be here with all of you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for holding this space with me, for listening to my song. Today I want to talk to you about alchemy. I want to talk about how we are the alchemy of the earth. And closer, lower. Get it? Thank you. All right, I want to talk about the alchemy that we are, how we are the alchemy of the earth. Today I could come and share facts about the injustices done toward Indigenous peoples, but we know about a lot of those. The ones we don't know about, we will learn about. Today I want to practice being Indigenous here with all of you. I want to hold that with all of you through our words, through our hearts, through our presence here. I want to embody what it means to be Indigenous. Bodawadmi and Dao, that means we are the people of the place of fire. That is who we are as Potawatomi people. And often we ask, what is our shkode, our spiritual fire? What are we carrying in our hearts? Who are we? Where are we going from here? So in that, I want us to embrace and embody our alchemy, that we belong to Sagamakwe, to Mother Earth. She belongs right back to us, not in a relationship of dominance, but in a kinship bond that cannot be broken. We are living alchemy. And the song I shared with you just now might seem ironic because no poem is about nothing. Every poem is about something. No apple is just an apple. No tear is just a tear. It's a deep story that brings meaning to our lives. We might wonder what the end will be like, but we are also wondering right now what this moment here means to us. This is alchemy, the embodiment of being human. The embodiment of liminality is alchemy. Alchemy was the precursor to modern chemistry. It's about transformation using science, art, and magic. So today we ask how we are alchemizing our lives, our stories, our individual and collective trauma into something that brings healing. How are we taught alchemy? The world reveals it to us. The caterpillar breaking down to become the butterfly. Summer transitioning into autumn, life and death dancing with one another in sacred rhythm, our dependence upon the trees, the fungi, our creature kin, belonging is alchemy. Sharing this sacred earth is alchemy, and we have been learning to practice this every day of our lives. It is in our own alchemy that we change the world around us. In my new book, Everything is a Story, I write about loving, liminal, and lethal stories. If alchemy is how we take what we have been given, the materials made available to us in order to create something new, or maybe to return to the true home of who we are, how are we doing that? We are taking the lethal stories, the stories of human rights abuse and colonialism, the stories of racism, war, and genocide, and we are using our imaginations and the power of our kinship ties to break down those elements and fill the world up with loving stories, with liminal stories that honor complexity and care. We are living alchemy right here, right now. In my book, Native, I follow the Potawatomi flood story. And in this story, original man and a number of animals find themselves in the aftermath of a global flood. They are floating on a log. They are the only ones who have survived. They are grieving. And after a period of grieving, they begin to ask a question. What if? Alchemy begins with this very question every single time. What if? What if we could grow back the land again? What if we could start our lives in a better way? What if we could partner together to create something beautiful? What if we were brave enough to dream up a new world? And then they began. They asked, could we dive down into this water and just get a handful of dirt? And turtle Mashike offered their back to build the land again. And muskrat Zhezhko is the one who finally makes it down to the bottom of the water, who dies trying to make this dream come true, this dream of a new world. And so they take that dirt, they honor their dear friend for what they gave to the people and the animals, and they begin the work of recreation with the help of Mashike. Alchemy is rooted in kinship and creativity and care. It is rooted in metaphor and poetry. Pick a metaphor for your one precious life, and then choose another. Pretty soon, a different one will show up on the stepping stones of your soul home and ask you to look at life again. Another lens, another way, another truth buried in truth. You are a mosaic. A wild bird, a gentle butterfly, a burning fire, a rudderless boat, the thing moving across the ocean, but also the ocean itself. Don't look away from any of them. They are everything that you are and more, the essence of your myth, the words of your life poem, the embodiments of every moment you ever thought you were or weren't good enough to give or receive this sacred medicine. You are a tree growing into the stars, and the branches that stretch across time, and the birds who nest in those branches, and the roots that never leave home. You are the taste of every metaphor ever made, and they will always bring you back to yourself. Let them. And do not lose yourself when they move on back to the other world they came from, or to the next person who needs their medicine. Look there beside you. A portal is opening, and you draw back the curtain and tenderly, quietly step through. God, or Mamagosnan, Kache Manado, the Great Spirit, is a liminal being who moves between this world and the other world, between heaven and earth. God dwells among us. What do we learn from this? We learn that we too are dancers, that we too are here to create and sustain creativity, to show up in the world with our deepest, truest selves. Rumi once wrote, "Stay in the spiritual fire. Let it cook you." Alchemy takes time. It takes energy. It doesn't shy away from grief or longing. It involves every part of who we are. While in the cocoon, the caterpillar needs imaginal cells. These are cells that have been dormant their entire life, but they suddenly awaken in this moment, in this space, in the cocoon, so they can fully break down to become another version of themselves, to alchemize. In Scottish Gaelic, the butterfly is the Delan Day. They are a creature that moves between this world and the other world, a sacred creature of liminality. And isn't this what's happening right now in America, in the world? Aren't we all asking, what if? In this moment, in all moments like this, the artists are the imaginal cells. You are. When you create, when you sustain, when you believe in the power of imagination, of dreaming, of resisting, of honoring your grief and moving through it, you are the imaginal cell. Have you been dormant? Take your place in the world. Have you been waiting? Don't wait anymore. Have you been looking for your home? It is there waiting for you. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the flood? Get to work and let's build our future together. When I was young, growing up in the Southern Baptist Church, the word apocalypse had a very specific meaning. But I like to think about it a little differently now. It's a way of seeing, a way of holding prophecy or vision. So as we hold space here to think about the coming calendar year, the coming of winter, we are asking what apocalyptic faith and spirituality means, that we are trying to see. We're trying to pay attention to the ways we can love each other better, to build community in lasting ways. This is alchemy. It is what was reflected in my song, in all the songs we have been singing this morning. It is a way of being in the world, walking in beauty, letting it hold us as we hold each other. Choctaw author Stephen Charleston has a book called We Survived the End of the World. And in this book, he explores apocalyptic stories of prophecy and revelation, reminding us of the importance of this moment we are living in, a moment marked by liminality, a moment of deep clarity and tension and deep fear and big questions. Charleston's book reminds us of the opportunity to dream and to come together to ask what our stories mean and where they're headed. He writes, pandemics, environmental destruction, corrupt governments, war, natural disasters, my ancestors have been through it all before. They have survived and they have returned to the land of the living. And they bring a message of hope and transformation. They offer a vision of healing and restoration. They have something to tell us about how apocalypse works. He's speaking of indigenous peoples as throughout history we have faced hardships and survived. We have seen the world change again and again and again. And we continue to have hope for future generations. This is the way life works, the way that our stories cycle and revolve around each other. We look for our ancestors to remember who we are. We live our lives for future generations, for healing that ripples across timelines and our limited understanding, and we do it all through sacred connection to Mother Earth. Indigenous futures are essential to the stories we tell. Our stories must be expansive and future-looking, creative and full of care. So how can we take better responsibility of our stories? The stories we keep, the ones we pass around like a plague, the ones we hold on to for dear life because we can't let them go. Stories of dangerous nostalgia, or stories that might keep us trapped in things like grief and anger, or stories of love and compassion. How can we be better caretakers and claim our alchemy in the world today? We are here today because we are trying to remember constantly what it means to be human. We're trying to find ways to partner with God in a world that is hurting. And sometimes we are just holding up an apple and asking others to see it, to truly see it, to step into a moment and let it be fully sacred as it is. We are building a new world through the alchemy of the old one. It is difficult and tender and powerful, and we are not alone. Our wounds may be a portal, or maybe a fire, or maybe a portal on fire, a fire-lit ring that we must jump through to get to the other side of ourselves. There will be no one cheering in the audience, no circus tricks, except this one thing that demands our humanity to let go and choose to go through, knowing that the burns we receive are going to mean something. The scars not as markers that we are more special than the last person who jumped through a sacred hoop, but that our scars are all connected to form some sort of tapestry in the human work of deep surrender. And there on the other side, a bit singed, I speak poetry. I sing lament, and it turns into medicine. And every next person who walks through brings theirs along with them, an apothecary of alchemized healing, of grief turned to magic, to be given to a dying, living, tending world. Miigwech, thank you.